If you're a multi-passionate creative, a hobbyist, a sidequester, whatever you want to call yourself, you can pursue multiple things at the same time. Hello, friend. Welcome back to the channel. I am so glad that you are here. Today I am trying something completely new and I have no script, I have no plan. So we will see how this goes. If you follow me over on Instagram at all, then you will know that my dog passed away earlier this week. It was really hard. It's still hard, and it's gonna be really sad for a long time. Right now I'm okay enough to be able to record a video. We had 2 weeks. We had the time to say goodbye. We found out that he had a very rare, aggressive form of cancer. So we had to make that hard decision. And it ended up being really peaceful and really beautiful. He got to go. I got to hold him in my arms as he looked out his favorite window. I knew this week was going to be difficult, and I knew I needed to put some things in front of me that help me continue to live life after loss. Now, the grief comes with me, the sadness comes with me. It's not that I just ignore it or it's not there, but I knew when I found out the news, I knew I needed to put some positive, life-giving things in front of me so that I would have a reason to keep going. I have a tendency towards depression. If I'm not careful, depressive waves can pop up very easily during difficult times like this. So as soon as I got the news and I had enough mental capacity, I started planning for, okay, I need to have some things on the calendar after Zephyr's gone so I have something to keep me going. With that said, I had a strategy session with a friend, yesterday. When you see this, it won't be yesterday. But anyways, I had a strategy session with a friend this week because I knew that my mind was going to be a little bit scattered. I still have a lot of energy and excitement to move forward in creative projects, but I knew with having grief compounded on top of that, I would need some help just organizing some of my thoughts. To prep for that, I did a little brain dumping session, sent over my notes, physical notes here. This is my brain on paper, okay? I sent these over to her. We met, we went over this. She gave me some pointers, some direction, kind of found a couple of spaces where I knew I was struggling to make connections and figuring out how kind of my entire creation strategy, if you will, is going to work. And there were just a couple of disconnects that I was not able to see that she really helped me with. Here's what I want to do today. I want to do a plan with me. Now, I love videos like this. I've just never thought about doing them on my own because I don't really see myself as a super organized person. As a multi-passionate creative, I believe that time management and organization looks a lot different for cozy creators, hobbyists, sidequesters, multi-passionates, multidisciplinary, Renaissance people. Time management and organization looks different for us. And the traditional time management and organizational tools are very much task oriented. Very much task and time oriented. However, when we are moving forward on something, we are motivated by the idea itself. We are very much idea focused. With that in mind, I had never thought about doing any kind of vlog like this simply because I thought, who's gonna wanna watch me kind of be scatterbrained and try to like pull out the threads of all 17,000 projects? After talking to Amber, she said, yes, very much. That's the kind of stuff that people want to see. Because I talk a lot about being a multi-passionate, multidisciplinary. You can decide whatever term works best for you. There are a lot of people now talking about, I wouldn't say a lot, but there are more than there used to be. There are people talking about what a multi-passionate is and giving you tools to thrive as a multi-passionate creative. Amber pointed out, she's like, I'll be honest, I don't see a lot of people actually doing that in front of me, so I can kind of see how their process works. So here I am doing this video. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what season I am personally in my creative endeavors, so that you'll know my process, why I'm working this way, etc., etc. I'm going to have timestamps throughout here, so if you don't really care about that, feel free to just skip to this next section where I go ahead and just jump in. So for the rest of us who are still here, I figured out that I was a multi-passionate creative, kind of started getting that language to understand my unique process about 4 to 5 years ago. So this is still fairly new. I feel more comfortable with it now. I feel more steady and settled in it now. But this is a newer thing for me. When I first discovered this, it took me a little while to figure out how to move around, how to exist with this newfound knowledge. That was actually very empowering. Instead of feeling flaky and disorganized, which I still do sometimes, but instead of feeling like I was broken, all of a sudden I felt like these were my superpowers. But I didn't know how to function with superpowers when I thought that I was just broken. So the first 2 to 3 years was a lot about me grabbing language, figuring it out, developing my own way, my own systems, the way that I kind of perceived all of this. When we moved to Tulsa about a year and a half ago, something shifted. Something shifted for me, and I very much got a sense that God was impressing on me, like, do the shotgun approach. Try it all. Who cares if it doesn't work? You're holding back. You need to try a bunch of things to figure out what you even enjoy. Coming on the cusp of 2024, I always pray for a word for the year. And this year, I sensed that God gave me the word expand. And it wasn't the word expand as in necessarily doing more things, although it has come with that on some level. It was more about expanding to the furthest reaches of my creativity. It was about really sharing the best parts of me that I had been holding back, and not realizing that I was holding back for fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of success, honestly. I was flooded with ideas. As you know, if you're a multi-passionate creative, then you know that coming up with ideas is not hard for you. It's not hard. It's the management of the ideas that is difficult. All of these ideas came forward, and I thought, okay, God, what do I do? What do I do with all this? While this is incredibly exciting for me, it's also incredibly scary, because in general, my capacity is lower. I don't subscribe to hustle culture, because that pace and that capacity, it just doesn't work for me. I end up burning out. I end up bored. I end up hating everything. When I saw the number of projects that I wanted to pursue, and kind of felt like there was an open door for me to pursue all of them at the same time, I knew I needed to really pull together my resources and my frameworks and my systems and kind of tighten them up a little bit. As a multi-passionate, there are seasons where I have less structure, and then there are other seasons where I have a lot more structure. And within the last month or so, I've definitely sensed, okay, this is a season where I'm gonna need a bit more structure. So that's where you are finding me today. We are going to go through my notes from Amber, and I'm going to, in real time, figure out my content. I hate calling it content, but that's what I'm calling it because it's simple. But I'm going to go through my content plan as far as what am I going to write, what am I going to create, what am I going to make. I'm going to do this in real time so that you can kind of see, okay, you have a lot going on. You have a lot going on, and yet you are still able to do a lot of this. So that is the goal for today. Yay! Oh, fireworks. Let me get over to this. All right. So, let me go over here. This is, I don't know how big that is for you. Hold on. All right. This is my plan for the first season of the podcast. It's called Sidequest of the Week. Like I said, this is my goal of what each episode will be. I have already released the first one and the second one. The third one is recorded. I might re-record it. I'm not sure how I feel about it right now. So I'm just going to highlight this so I know this one is recorded. I'll show you kind of what I end up doing. All right, this is what I showed Amber on paper, but what I am going to do for you today is I'm going to end up typing it out because this is just going to be a little bit simpler. Let's do 200 for now. Okay. I used to think that I was motivated by the video content, right? The long form video content was going to be kind of my foundational piece of either information or lifestyle, whatever it is. Like, that was my piece of content, and then I was going to rebrand that and filter it out to the different places that I am currently existing on or operating on. However, I found out recently that long form written content is actually what works best for me to do that process through. When I was chatting with Amber, one of the things she said was to split up my kind of more lifestyle content and my more teaching content. And for whatever reason, I was just having a really hard time figuring out how those two blended. As a multi-passionate, I know that you can be multiple things at the same time. However, for whatever reason, I was thinking I can only do lifestyle or I can only do teaching. And as you know, that is not accurate. It's not accurate. I'm going to start with a blog post, okay? And while I care about my blog, the blog is more for me to get my idea, my original idea out and processed. So I'm not worrying much about SEO and making it searchable and easily found on the internet. If people find my blog, I want it to still be excellent, but I'm not overly concerned right now about my blog being like the best blog that you've ever run into. So just keep that in mind. All right, so we're going to start with the blog. Originally, I was just putting all of my lifestyle and teaching all together, not really separating them because I thought that separating them meant that I had to choose one or the other, which as a multi-passionate, I should know better. But we're going to start with the blog, since I know that my long form written content is what's helpful for me to create kind of the plan for the week. So I will have a blog post, and I am going to put that either in the teaching bucket, or I'm going to do a blog, and it's going to be more lifestyle. Okay. This works better written, but I haven't figured out how to do all of that at one time. So here we are. We're on here. That blog becomes the script for the podcast. And then I'm going to pull three headlines becomes carousel post. 3 headlines becomes YouTube video. Actually, I might have it to where the YouTube video is first, but it's fine. I'm not worried about it right now. And then those also become threads. I'm still figuring out threads, but this could be asking a question, showing my process, etc. I'm figuring out how to work threads right now, and that's where we're at. I'm okay with that. Let's see. Okay, that's kind of the basic filtering that happens if I'm doing more of a teaching blog. Later on, this is stuff I will continue to work on. My goal in all of this is to create a body of work. A body of work, not only my creative projects, but also the tools that I used and created for myself to be able to successfully pursue my creative projects kind of all at the same time. So the goal is to take it a little bit further, would be to create digital resources as well as courses, online courses, which will become ultimately my pillar content and evergreen content. When I get to threads here, this is kind of what I'm thinking about my content for that week. I'm trying, this is kind of where it filters into, right? This is more of a long-term goal. It doesn't mean that I'm not working on it right now. It just means that these are probably things that are going to be grouped as I am more consistent and I actually have more quantity out there. I will start pushing it out even a little bit further. This is just ideal later in the future type of thing. Now, if I'm doing something more lifestyle, and I think that the lifestyle is very much related to my teaching topics. For example, on the Side Quest of the Week podcast, I had an episode talking about structure and how structure is helpful for multi-passionate creatives. And then I also gave, a side quest. That's why it's called Side Quest of the Week. You get a side quest every week to help you move the needle as an artist, creative, fill in the blank. I gave you a prompt to help you start implementing some level of structure. It didn't have to be big, it could be very small, but just helping you see that having some structure is actually very helpful for creatives. Okay. I then created a YouTube video that was called How I Inspired My Own Personal Renaissance. And I talk about my experience of what happened when I started to integrate some structure into my system. So you'll kind of see how on the one end, I'm creating something that's like, this is a very teachable, tangible thing, like A, B, C, this is how you can implement in your life, boom. And then the lifestyle is more lifestyle, right? This is me living it out. And I think that's the major connection that was helpful for me, that Amber helped me see, of you are teaching, you are giving resources and tools and all these things, but you're also living your life in front of other people so that they can kind of see what it looks like for you to juggle all of these projects at the same time. So that's kind of the lifestyle portion. Mixed in there, of course, there's going to be fun stuff. Like one of the YouTube videos I want to record is called I'm Giving Up Reading for the Rest of the Year. And I think it's a fun idea, but basically it's going over all of the books that I've already read this year and kind of explaining why I think I'm done. For the most part, it doesn't mean that I'm like not reading at all, but why I am done reading for the rest of the year, and that mostly relates to my self-publishing timeline and novels that I'm working on. There's too much going on. That's the short version. But like that's very much more lifestyle. Doesn't really relate to teaching per se. That's more fun. That's more you seeing my life. Okay. I digress. That becomes the script for the YouTube video. And then those can become shorts and reels. And then again, it filters down into threads, which can be more, this can be more like sharing a story, personal experience, and then specifically going and finding people who have experienced that and answering other people's questions. Let me see if that's all I got. Boom, 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 boom. Cool. And this also becomes kind of behind the scenes exclusive content for Patreon. So that's kind of how I'm divvying up everything. I wanted you to be able to see that so you kind of got an idea. Now, before I got this refined structure from Amber that we worked on together, this is kind of how I had done it the week before, right? This was around the time that I was planning on doing a lot more. However, I found out my dog was dying. So we got a little bit behind, and you know what? That's okay. So you'll kind of see how I was originally, I was going to write a blog, and then that was going to become the script for my YouTube along with my podcast. So you'll see here. So I started off the blog, and then I have like the actual days that I wanted to post them on. YouTube, see, I only got one out, and that's okay. Instagram, I kind of have carousel posts. I have this divvied up into carousel posts, story polls, like in my stories, and then polls, Q&As, that kind of thing. Reels, say, look, I did one. And then threads, I did one there. And then on my Patreon, this is kind of my goal that I would like to do. Obviously, we're a little behind. On this, and that's totally fine. It's totally normal. But this is kind of how I divvy it out. Now, since I'll leave this, I'm gonna actually, I'm just gonna call this Amber and Kayla strategy session. There's more, but I'm gonna leave that there for now. Let's go ahead and do a new Google Doc, and let's plan for next week, because let's be honest, I'm not gonna do anything else this week. So content plan for week of July 8th. Okay, enter. So let's start with the blogs. My goal for the podcast is not for it to be forever. I kind of see it as being 2 to 3 seasons, and then I think I'll be done. I just don't imagine locking myself into doing a podcast for forever. I feel like I would get bored. I think that I have some good stuff for season 1, season 2. I think I might have a season 3. Oh, a season 3 and a season 4. I think I'm planning on squishing those together. But anyways, maybe 4 seasons total. Maybe. With that said, when the podcast is done, I think I will have enough information to start blogs on my own. Right now, I'm actually working from this timeline. Each week, I think it's actually going to be, okay. I am releasing these every other week, or that was my goal. Again, I am behind about 1 week, but that is okay. That's okay. These are going to be every other week. I don't think I can do weekly. It's just a bit too intense for me, and it might end up being once a month. We'll see. We'll see how little Kayla does. So this is going to be the main theme for this week. And hold on. Why did that not save my title? Sorry, guys. Hold on. So I think I will take that particular title. So what is idea management? That will be kind of my theme, my teaching theme. Not even just my teaching theme, my overall theme for that block of time. My goal is to have the frequency at which I release my podcast to be the time frame of that content block. You know, so even though I'm saying content plan for the week of July, it might actually be the content plan for the week of July to, a 2-week block. We'll see. I'm trying to figure this out. So since idea management is the first one, we are going to do a blog post of what is idea management, meant, and why every creative needs it. Something like that. I'll probably come up with a more fun title, but I am going to say this is going to be teaching. And we'll highlight things accordingly. Now, a personal blog, a lifestyle blog, honestly, I'd have to think a little bit longer about the potentials of that. But there's a lot of things that I could dive into. Honestly, we're going to do the why I am quitting reading for the year. Because while that is very much lifestyle, I think that there is some overlap into why I'm doing it, and I think it does link into idea management. If not, then it's a video for fun. Oh, I need to make this bigger. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Okay. I'm going to start with those two. I know that there will be more that come along. Like, I know that there are going to be some more ideas that definitely come along. But for now, those are the ideas that are in my head now. So we're going to do podcast. Let me pull this up so I can see it as well. Is going to be the what is idea management, which is already recorded, which is great. Makes my life a lot easier. Bold. What is idea management? And that's the podcast. How did I do it over here? Okay. Then we'll go over to YouTube, and I'm going to do mid-year book review. Why I am quitting reading for the rest of the year. That will be that one. I'm trying to think of what else. Let's go over to my YouTube because it's going to start playing, and that's okay. Hello, friend, and welcome. I need to re-record that, honestly. I'm not going to lie. I have now updated my playlists to be more on brand so that it will be helpful not only for myself to know what type of videos I'm making and where I'm going to put them, but I have that side quest life, which is going to be leveling up your creative mastery. So that would actually be a good video. That would be a good YouTube video, is what is idea management? That's another great one. Okay, so that side quest life is going to be everything that's leveling up your creative mastery. So if you see here, I have videos on 3 things to consider before you niche down, 5 things killing your creativity. I've moved away, now that you know, I've moved away from the 5 things, 3 things. It's a little bit too clickbait for me, but it's there now. So just accept it. What I learned from my first month on YouTube, 7 ways to stay creative when you're depressed. I actually really like this video. I hit a depressive wave last year, and that's actually why I started writing my novel. So it's kind of a fun story, but I got depressed and I needed to figure out a way to keep creating. This one is how I inspired my personal renaissance. That's the one I told you about, talking about structure. And then this one I actually really, really am fond of. I think this is going to be kind of the style and just the timbre of my voice. I think I finally figured out my style in these. It's funny that my hands are doing that. This one is called So You Need to Go Back to Your 9 to 5. You're Still a Creative. I really, really actually love that video. The next playlist is Living on Tulsa Time. This is going to be Chronicles of a Cozy Creative, which is me. It's going to be my life as a multi-passionate creative. As you can see, I was still figuring out things. There's kind of a lot of different things here. None of it's really related, and It's okay. It really, really is okay. But you'll see that this the book haul one did really, really well. People liked the book one. Some of these other vlogs are just me doing stuff. And then, oh, I'm excited about this one. This one is called Tavern Talk. This one is going to be specifically about reviews, resources, and roundups. So, book reviews, any resources that I'm finding either as a creative in my different artistic mediums. So, if it's Logic for music, like Logic tips or tools, encouragement, writer tools. What else do I do? Drawing, all those different things. I want to have that be kind of the space where that lives. And roundups as well. Like, this is what I'm loving right now. So that is Tavern Talk. Tavern Talk. Can you tell that I love Skyrim and that I'm a nerd, or can you? In the workshop is going to be Behind the Art. So this is going to be more of, right now I'm doing a plan with me. That one will probably fall more into my lifestyle living on Tulsa time. I don't know. This could fall into a couple different buckets. Maybe I'll add it into 3 different playlists. Who knows? This is going to be more about, hey, I am writing a song. I am live streaming me writing a song so you can see me writing a song. Hey, I am writing a chapter for my book. This is me taking a video of me writing a chapter for my book. That's the goal for in the workshop. It's behind my artwork. You get to see me working as an artist. And then I'll have some productivity streams, which I've done before. Those are fun. And then, yeah, those are my main ones. Okay. So that is helpful. I think we'll stick with those 2 YouTube videos for now because I'll have to edit this one. And I'm looking at the timing right now, and it's already going to be longer than I really wanted. My goal is to get shorter and less verbose. However, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be possible for me. Okay, so then we have the YouTubes, and then we go to the Grammys. Hold on. Amber Kaler. Okay, we're going from, script for the podcast, which I have. Okay, podcast, yep. And then that becomes 3 headlines becomes a YouTube video. So I have those 2. And then 3 headlines becomes carousel post. So I actually already have a carousel post of what is idea management. I might even have a couple. Let me see. Is it making me log in? No, I don't want my notifications on. They drive me bonkers. Okay. Let's go down. So I have what is a multi-passionate creative. Those are pinned. Let's see. See, I do have a what is idea management one already up there. It did okay. It didn't do great. But what we could do, I'm trying to think of what would be a good carousel post for that. I might have to come back on that one. Honestly, what is idea management? I mean, I know what it is, but how to help other people. Oh, you know what? This is what we can do. How idea management is crucial for creatives. I don't love that title. However, that is a placeholder. All of the things that I do here are always kind of like placeholders, and I realize that they might change later. Okay. The other thing that's important to note before we go forward on this is I put a lot of things on my to-do list. It's not really a to-do list. It's more of a hopeful list. Like, I hope to get these things done. I also recognize that I put more on there. That way, if I'm not in the mood for idea 1 and I'm actually in the mood for idea 3, then I have that. Instead of getting to it and deciding on the day, like, actually, I really hate this idea and I don't want to work on it anymore, but I didn't write down any other ideas, it gives me the option of saying, okay, I have 10 ideas. I'm only going to post 4 of them, but I have 6 other ideas that I can interchange if I decide I don't like them. Or if I'm feeling really productive that week, then I have 10 ideas and I can do 10 ideas. However, if I'm like, I'm only going to come up with 2 ideas and that's it. Sometimes I get to the day and I decide I hate both of those ideas. Those were terrible. So that's how that goes. How idea management is crucial for creatives. What it looks like when ideas are managed. You know what would be cute is to do something that's like, you know how it's like mischief managed? Oh my gosh. Oh! Mischief managed. Oh my gosh. I have to do something like that. Oh, thank you. See, that's how my brain works. Every once in a while, I'm like just really proud of myself. I like that one. So like mischief managed. Ooh. Guys, that's a good one. Okay, that's a really good one. All right, what are some other things I can post regarding what is idea management? Let me go to my script for that one, honestly, and see what I even said. What did I say? I literally script out word for word what I'm going to say because I imagine my podcast more as an audiobook. I kept hearing everybody saying, if you have a podcast, you should make it a YouTube video. And I was like, okay, I mean, I'm already recording and I have the fancy equipment, so like I can do it. And then I found out very quickly that I hated that. So I'm going to keep my podcast kind of like an audiobook where I am reading the script. I'm typing out the script for you exactly. So why every person needs idea management, how idea management has helped me. Oh, well that would be something nice to, how idea management has changed my creative life. Again, I want a better title, but I digress. See, I was frustrated. Hey, I can't spell. Surprise, surprise. You know what? I always like talking about overcoming boredom, burnout, and your ideas becoming a burden. Idea management. What else do I talk about here? Idea synchronicity. That could be that's something. Idea synchronicity. Maybe we can talk about, I know I spelled that wrong. We can talk about something about the key to NPCs being successful with time management and organization. This was an older post, but I wonder if I can repurpose it from the Queen of Chaos. Okay, so now we're kind of seeing here some potential carousel ideas, carousel post ideas. And they might also be just like one posts as well, but these are posts, carousel posts. And then let's go down to reels. I mean, really any of these would be good as reels. I would just have to sit. Let me look back here. All right, so you're kind of seeing the process now. You're seeing how this is working out. I am going to continue to work on this, and then I will meet you at the end, because now it's going to be a lot of me sitting and staring, and I might run out of computer space. But now you're kind of seeing how I'm moving from that base idea that is going to start off as a long form written content, and then I'm going to start filtering it out into all the different areas and how that idea kind of branches outward. I'll see you closer to the end and we'll review what I've done. All right, friends, I am back. Um, I know you probably wouldn't have minded me just sitting there. If I were doing a live stream, then maybe I would have done it. But since I'm not doing a live stream, it would have been a very, very long video. And I was nervous about the amount of space. Plus, I didn't know if you wanted to just sit and watch me do nothing as I just think. So, I've got most of it. This is like kind of my taking my brain dumping and putting it into a brainstorm. So this isn't like my refined, this is done. I will probably refine this one more time. Usually what I end up doing, what works well for me, is I brain dump with like on paper, and then I will brainstorm, like take my brain dump and like kind of brainstorm on my Google Docs. And then I will refine that again on my notebook, and then I will take the final one, go back to the Google Doc where I brainstormed, and just tighten everything up, and then I will usually print that out so that I can actually physically tick it off, because that's just how it works. I have to kind of have a little bit of the physical actual writing as well as digital. I do a little bit of both, and sometimes I just do on a piece of paper, and I do this 3 or 4 times until I get the final list for the week. But it's a way that I work to refine the ideas that are in my head. I decided this was the content plan for the weeks of July 8th through the July 20th. So it's going to be a 2-week chunk. The goal is, if I can get my act together, is to get the podcast posted on July 9th, which is next Tuesday. And then that will kind of set the timer, if you will, of this block of content. So I will I might not write all of these blogs. I might just kind of pull them. I might not write all of these blogs, but I have them here. What I like to do is take these and actually make them tasks. I think I will end up color coding these between teaching and lifestyle, but alas, right now, that's too much for my brain. So I decided that I will have you, as we did this at the beginning, what is idea management, why every creative needs it. That's going to be basically the podcast. Since I already recorded the podcast, basically this time I will reverse engineer it to where I'll just take my script for my podcast and throw it up as a blog post. So technically that's done, but I might go back through and just adjust a few things, since I write my script as I'm talking to a human being, like me physically talking to somebody, so I might have to adjust it a little bit for a blog. Now, one of my ideas that I had earlier, which I think you were on here for, is I was talking about, one of the things I talk about a lot is when you hit burnout, boredom, or the thing that you love becomes a burden, those are usually triggers for you to stop, and you need to look at a few things. And potentially that could be a number of different things that are going on when you feel any 3 of those things as a creative. I think that can fall into so many different categories. I think that they could be very short blogs and very short videos and carousel posts and stuff. So I'm throwing that up there as a potential blog option. I thought about making it just one blog. We'll see. And then the other teaching video I'd like to do is potentially, is it time to level down so you can level up? This is a concept that came to me a couple weeks ago that was actually on my previous content plan, and I never got to it. I think it would fit in this realm of teaching, so we will see. And then why I'm quitting reading for the year, talked to you about that already. I thought about doing a quick blog about my self-publishing journey, why I ended up where I did. Never thought I would be an author or writer. And then I don't know why I changed accents, but here we are. And then my favorite books for multi-passionates. That could be a very simple blog. Very simple blog. So then for my YouTube, we'll do the why I'm quitting reading for the year. That one will fall into my lifestyle. That will be a lifestyle video, and it will be in my Living on Tulsa Time playlist, What is idea management? Obviously, that'll be teaching. That'll go on my Sidequest Life playlist. Is it a no idea, now idea, or not now idea while playing Skyrim? This is an idea that I thought could be really, really cool. I think this is more lifestyle. Can't spell. One of the posts that has been one of the favorite posts that I've ever posted, that's why it's pinned on my Instagram, is it a no idea, is it a now idea, or is it a not now idea? For creatives, a lot of times they don't know what to do when they have all of these ideas. They either do all of them at once without really thinking about it, or they wait too long and then forget about them or lose them. So I kind of just talk about a quick, I use Skyrim a lot because I think Skyrim is a great way to talk about the creative process, especially for multi-passionates. If you've played Skyrim, then I think you can understand why. But basically, I talk about side questing. You know, when you're on the main quest line when you start Skyrim. Most people who play Skyrim will ignore the main quest line for like a really long time, and they'll do all the side quests before coming back to the main quest line. Or sometimes they'll weave in and like, oh, I really need this for this quest, so I'll do this part of the main quest line and come back to my side quest. Here's the thing, as you're going through Skyrim, there are lots of times when you get stopped or and there's a new side quest, and you have to decide, am I going on this side quest now? Am I ever going to go on this side quest? Or should I just keep that in my quest log and come back to it? I think that would work well since we're talking about idea management. I think that would work really well. And then I thought, well, I could talk about that specifically while playing Skyrim, so people can kind of get the idea of where I'm getting that. I had to figure out how to do that. I'm not sure how to link all that. I know there's a way to do it. I just have to figure that out. Okay, so that was a really cool idea I came up with. I don't know which playlist that would go into. Probably that Side Quest Life. Okay. The Plan With Me, which I'm filming now. This one I'm struggling a little bit with them knowing where to put in because I feel like it can fit in like 3 different playlists, but I'll decide that later. Is it time to level down so you can level up? That'll be the teaching one. Okay, so then for carousel posts, I know you were here for some of them, but this is, I think we finished off with mischief managed, but here's some more ideas I came up with. How idea management has changed my life. Again, I just talked about this, but the different ideas between burnout, boredom, and your passion becoming a burden. I was thinking about doing a cool either like strategy guide or cheat sheet or infographic where it's like, hey, are you feeling bored? Like, dear creative, are you feeling bored? Read this. And then kind of talk about, okay, if you're feeling bored, these 3 things could be happening. You know, is it time to pivot? Do you need to change your pace? Like, has your capacity changed? Do you need to change your pace? Or do you need to like stop and manage your ideas? You have no way to manage your ideas, so you're just kind of, I think I could do some kind of like cheat sheet or strategy guide for each one of those individually, like boredom, burnout, burdens. Ideas synchronicity, which I talked about. The key to being an NPC is being successful with time management and organization is time management. And then this was another one suggested. These would be good carousel posts as well, but suggested shifts for creatives. So instead of this one actually came from Amber. She gave me this one. I really liked it. But instead of thinking about I need to protect my time or I need to set boundaries around my time, it's like I would like to put in a creative investment. Okay. Goals versus milestones. Some people just prefer milestones instead of what are your goals? Like, hey, what milestones, what are some milestones? What are some inch stones? I heard that recently. Formula versus framework. This is hard. Here's resistance. Just some things like that. So then for reels, I thought about creating something for the mischief managed post, which I need to brainstorm a little bit more specifically about that post, but I think that could be a really fun reel. I don't know how I would make it work. This one thing changed my creative process. I'm not a fan of clickbait, so I'm putting that up there as kind of like a placeholder, but I will probably come up with a different way to say that. YouTube Shorts. So obviously off my YouTubes, make shorts and then turn them into reels. Affirmations for multi-passionates. I have a journal, like a free journal that is affirmations for multi-passionates. But I think it'd be really cool to come up with a reel in a specific category, because I have affirmations and then I have specific categories like health and wellness, faith, physical, creativity, success, time management. I have a lot of different categories, like affirmations specifically in this category. So I'd have to pick a category. Organization from the Queen of Chaos. So just like quick tips, like a quick reel with tips about, hey, I'm a chaos gremlin. I fully am aware of that, and this is how I keep things together slightly. Reintroduction, kind of like, this is me, here, let me reintroduce myself. Waiting for multi-passionates to find my page, so blah, blah, blah. I've done a few of those. Those do well. People like those. Here's a reminder that your ideas matter. I'm quitting reading for the rest of the year. Writing time-lapse. I haven't been really sharing I've been sharing kind of what I'm doing, but not enough, so I need to be doing more about that. A few reels about my book, like what does it feel like, what does it sound like, kind of those vibes type of posts. For threads, I think I need to focus on finding threads of creatives that are struggling and answering questions. I think that's probably a good place for me to start to get kind of my feet wet in threads. I'm enjoying threads. It's all new to me. I'm hoping to launch my Patreon. I said I wanted to launch at the end of June. That didn't happen because of Zephyr. I'm hoping to launch at the end of July. So what I would like to be doing is to create these things, even though I'm not really pushing hard for it. That way, when I do launch it, I can say, hey, these are all the things that I have added. I have in my mind of creating these cheat sheets. So basically taking whatever content that I've done for that week and making like a one sheet PDF that gives you like quick wins. And this will be for people who are in the Patreon and they're at a certain tier where they kind of just have this resource library and they have access to those things. But basically, staying inspired when you're depressed, like, people really liked that video. People really liked that post on my Instagram. So just making that into a really simple kind of like cheat sheet. Like, are you depressed? Here's a cheat sheet. Here's like a cheat sheet or like cheat codes or strategy guide. I do a lot of things with video gaming. So I think something along those lines. I just did the video about going back to your 9-to-5. So just talking about like just a one sheet, like thinking about going back to your 9-to-5 or thinking about quitting your 9-to-5. Those would be really quick things. Quick fix structure. So what are some, if you are really bad at having any kind of structure in your life, what are some like quick things you can add to your life that would add some structure, that would get you used to having a bit more structured time or frameworks around your process? Habit stacking and book recs, which I love. What do you do if you're bored, burnt out, unburdened? Again, one sheet for each of those. I have this really cool, it's done, I just need to upload it. Kind of like, it's like 25 pages, it's an ebook, and it's called The Clarity Quest. Basically, it's all of my it's all of my downloads. Basically, it's an ebook that really gives you a quick win. It's not going to change your life, but it is going to give you some quick wins of like, okay, you feel completely overwhelmed as a creative. Like, let's sit down and let's go through this. I also want to do the title reveal for my books because I know the titles now, but I'm only going to share that on my Patreon. And then at the end, I just kind of added these other tasks. So I have to update my digital shop because I haven't been over there in a while. So I need to update that. Prepare for the Patreon relaunch. I need to update merch. I have a merch store. I have merch. I haven't looked at it in a long time. I have like a Shopify store and everything. Haven't looked at it. Need to update my link in bio. Now that I'm having a little bit more of a focused approach, I need to update my LinkedIn bio as well as my IG bio. So that is the plan with me. I think I will end up color coding some of this eventually. This feels pretty good. This gives me a good idea of, okay, now I know what I'm going to be creating for the next 2 weeks. So now we get into the time blocking. Because I'm dealing with grief over the loss of my dog, Amber suggested, and I agree, that I should start with 2 mornings of like content creation time, or creative investment, right? So I'm going to try to do Tuesday and Thursday with a goal of also, with a light goal, a general, gentle goal of also getting some work done on Wednesday. Wednesdays for my work tend to be kind of like a calmer day because everything from the weekend, Monday, Tuesday is pretty crazy, and then Thursday, Friday, gearing up for the weekend. So Wednesday tends to be kind of like a more chill day. That's my goal. We will see how that goes. Another thing that Amber suggested, I think this is really good, is to, when I'm sitting down for those specific working times, that creative investment time, that I separate between teaching versus lifestyle. And I think that will be helpful. Right now I've kind of been doing all of it at once, but if I think I follow this, right, if I kind of follow this drip system and all that and a bag of chips, right? Whew. Okay, so we did it. That is the plan with me. This is significantly longer than I expected. Maybe it was helpful for you, maybe it wasn't. I'm hoping that sharing this process with you helps you see like how you can pursue multiple things at the same time. Just know, for somebody else, they might be doing all of this in 1 week. And honestly, doing this in 2 weeks might be a bit ambitious for me, and we'll see. But that's why I create margin, right? So here I know for sure I need to write this blog, and I know for sure I need to write this blog. Now, all of these other ones, I would love to also write. If I do not get to them, that is fine. That really is okay. Okay, so for other people, they might be able to do all of this in 1 week. I know a lot of people who are capable of doing all that in 1 week. I'm going to set a 2 week, also recognizing that these blocks of time might end up stretching out and becoming a month at a time, and that is okay, because overall I'm building a body of work. I'm building a body of work that's going to be there as evergreen and pillar content that people can always come back to. And then there are always going to be these little ideas that pop off here and there and here and there that I also get to pursue. But I want you to see that if you're a multi-passionate creative, I have a blog, I have a podcast, I have a YouTube channel, I have an Instagram, I have Threads, and I'm building up my Patreon. And let's see what else. I also have a newsletter, and my newsletter is going to go out once a week and does a roundup of all the things I'm doing. Like, hey, these are all the things, choose your own adventure. Like, choose what you want to look at or not look at, or ignore the email entirely. I have that. In the middle of all that, I am starting to edit my novel so that I can hopefully publish by January 2025. Honestly, I think I'm going to probably have to push that back to February or March, and I'm okay with that. I'm keeping it in January in case I get some like really intense like movement. I'm going to participate in NaNoWriMo again, and so that also might give me like a lot of movement. I don't know. We'll see. January is the target goal. It's okay if not. What else am I doing? Oh, I'm trying to jump back into music. It's been a long, hard thing for me to get back into music, but I would like to write some music for my duology, my fantasy duology. I think in order for me to jump back into music, I need to really do something that's really fun and light and low stakes. Low stakes. What else am I doing? Those are, I also am going to be designing and illustrating my own books. And I also want to learn how to draw in the style of anime. That's a lot of things. Can I do all of them at the exact same time with the same levels of intensity on each one of those? Probably not. However, all of these things to me are interconnected. They're interconnected, and I'm able to create a body of work with different artistic mediums. This means that yes, I will be going slower. I will be going slower than the average person. If I just focused on, I'm going to have a podcast and a YouTube, and I'm just going to focus on this specific thing only and never really branch out, I guarantee you I would probably gain followers, notoriety, potentially other things much faster than the average person. However, that's not how I want to live my life. My goal is to fall in love with creating art, with pursuing art, with being a multi-passionate, and being confident about the fact that as a multi-passionate, I go slower. My capacity isn't the same. I reject hustle culture, which means it's gonna be a little bit longer for me to gain some momentum. That is okay. It also means that I'm gonna spend a lot of time being a beginner. I'm going to spend a lot of time being a beginner. I'm going to spend a lot of time experimenting. There are going to be a lot of projects I start and I pivot and I change my mind on, just like I talked about the podcast. I have no plans on that being a forever podcast. I'm hoping to have 3 to 4 seasons and then kind of bow out. That's my goal. If you're a multi-passionate creative, a hobbyist, a sidequester, whatever you want to call yourself, you can pursue multiple things at the same time. You can pursue things in seasons, and you can do it. You're just gonna have to realize your goals, your milestones, your vision, your path is going to have to look different, because the way you approach creativity, the way you approach time management, organization, you approach all of those things significantly differently. And so you have to have a different path. And there comes a point where you have to be okay with the fact that you are different. You aren't looking to be one thing. You're looking to expand into the furthest reaches of all of your artistic abilities. That's what you are. That's what you want to do. That's what you want to be. And if you're like me and I am part-time right now, it's a side thing. I don't get to do this full-time right now because it's not making me any money. My business, all the stuff that keeps this running, costs me more money than I make. I'm happy to do that. It's an investment in myself and also in my future. I'm okay with that. So that means I have to be really strategic about my time, how I'm doing things. It can't look like everybody else's path, and that is totally and completely fine. A side note on this, I have found that a lot of multi-passionates end up being neurodivergent in some way, shape, or form, whether that's ADHD, on the spectrum, a lot of neurodivergent people generally fall into this category of being multi-passionate. Not everybody, I'm not saying everybody does, but when you hear about somebody who is neurodivergent, they talk about how their process has to be different because their brain actually doesn't work the same way. So whether you're neurodivergent or not, if you kind of self-identify as a multi-passionate or multidisciplinary or hobbyist, that kind of creative that kind of has their hands in multiple different artistic mediums, recognize that it's completely normal to look at what's out there and to retrofit everything. It's one of my favorite things to say around these parts is retrofit everything. Even my own framework that I have created for you, that I'm going to be teaching over this season of the Sidequest of the Week podcast, even that framework, I tell you, take this. I think this is flexible enough that you can kind of make it work for you no matter who you are. But if you wanted to take this 6-phase system and say, you know what, I really only need, I like to look at it as being like 2 phases, this and this. Cool. Do that. Do that. Retrofit absolutely everything. So friend, I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed this. If you end up liking these kinds of videos, I will do more of them. But yeah, I guess I will sign off until next time. I don't know why I keep changing accents. It's fine. It's fine. It's been a long week. Anyway, friend, I will see you on the next YouTube video or wherever you might find me in the realm of creativity out there, moseying about, going on side quests. Yeah. Bye, friend.